Hey everybody, it's Rebel Builder, and I have here my modified version of Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle. Now I did another video where I showed that I modified this set using some hinges, changed out some of the colors. So if you're looking for kind of a description, a general overview, that's a great video to go watch. I've been humbled by the response by that, so people have asked for a bit of a tutorial. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to take some of this apart, show you how I built this, show you some of the extra pieces you need to do this version. It's not going to be an exact step-by-step tutorial, but really I'm going to take it apart. You guys can look at it, pause the video. Hopefully you can do these modifications too if you want to. And if some of you do get these modifications built, I'd love to see them, so post some pictures down in the comments. So my design process with this set is I just started taking things apart. I knew I had the idea that I wanted to use the hinges, and so it was a matter of just taking things apart and kind of working on the angle. That was the most critical part, how this angle fits and that the wings were actually able to open. So I think I'm going to walk you through that step. I'm going to take some things off and we'll look inside. But first off, to do this you're going to need 4 of these. These are, it's actually 2 pieces, but these are a hinge piece that they featured on like the Shuttle Tidarium set, also the latest AT-AT. Quite a few sets actually have this on Bricklink. And you're also going to need some more Technic beams, and I'll show you exactly what you need once we look at the bottom. So we're going to start by taking off a lot of the top section here. Just going to pull this off, and I'm going to pull all of that apart. What I've done here is I've removed a lot of the top section here, and what happened here on the real set is there were some red Technic 1x4s, and then this kind of piece snapped into the sides of those, and then the wings clipped into this thing. So really you can take apart all of that stuff, get rid of any of the structural elements, and just build this thing back up. You know, get your directions out and try to make it look like it did before. All of the structural connections and the hinges actually happen underneath this part. Now here's the bottom of the ship, and this is where everything really changed. There was some Technic beams here, and I don't know, I think they were maybe 1x12s. This one looks too long, but I shortened those up because what I have here is mainly some Technic beams, 2 of them running this way, and that is what the hinges connect into. So we're going to take this apart and look at that. So the name of the game with this section is Strength. And what I did is I have, I think it's a 1x6 and a 1x12 Technic brick here. You need a total width of 18, and then I've got a Technic brick up here, and then these L bricks. These are a 4x4 Technic brick. Now using these in different directions and using those pins to connect everything together really gives it its strength. And there's a lot of stress that gets put on these hinges because of the weight of the whole wing. So making this thing as reinforced as possible is really important for the stability of the ship. And I also had to make a couple of changes to this mechanism here. There was 2 pins that held this 2x1 Technic brick or spacer, I'm not sure what you would call that. And so I had to take one of those out because I have a pin here connecting into this L piece. And really what this did is just kind of let this have a little more play, but I haven't had any issue with it being too loose or the bottom of the ramp opening up or anything. Here's a close-up of the hinges connecting in here. So I have a 1x2 Technic brick, a 1x6, and this L piece. And so this L piece connects into this 1x6, and then this one is a 1x12 that goes all the way across. You could use any kind of combination, but I also connect into this 1x4 here. You can see those pins there. You're just trying to give it as many connections, as much strength as you can. But then these pins, I got 1 connection here and 1 connection there. Here I've pulled the wing off of the ship. Here's the black 4x4 L piece and the other Technic brick here. So you can see, you know, that's how much those hinges move. And getting this angle in the right spot so that the ship was able to open up but still have a little bit of the wing kind of hanging down underneath the ship and kind of giving it that opened up look, was why this had to be on the bottom side of the ship. Now here's the wing opened up. I really haven't made much change to the overall design. These Technic beams here, this black, I think that's a 6x4 Technic piece. I kept all those in the same position. These red pieces work as spacers, but really what I did is, again, you know, there was this kind of bracket piece that connect into these here, pulled those out, and you're gonna have to take quite a bit of this apart. You're gonna have to take this black piece off and then snap these hinges into the right spot. You can see there's this red 1x4 here. Now I think I was just using those as extra pieces. Those came off the inside of the ship and I was just throwing them in here. But you can see from where this black maybe that's an 8x6, there's two spaces in the Technic piece there, and then the hinges connect. So I connected on the outside two holes. You know, there's 3 holes in each of these connections. So I connected the outside 2 into this light gray beam there, and then I used one of these red pins, you know, that's one of the 3 long pins, and snap that in from the outside. So it's getting strength here from the outside of the ship, but also strength from this inside piece. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to give it strength in different places so the whole thing holds together. You can tell that these hinges, you know, they put a lot of stress on things, and these wings have a lot of pieces in them. They have some weight to it, especially with the folding mechanism of the top part. And I did leave all that part intact too. So doing your best to give those connections the strength it needs to stand up, and that way you can pick the ship up, you can fold the wings, and it still works. It's not going to flop around on you. You know, another change I made is I took out this folding kind of wing that they had on the bottom. You know, you can just pop those off and keep those pieces, and then there's a couple of black hinge plates, you know, take those out, pop in some 2x1 plates, and you're good to go there. Now here's the outside of the wing, and you can tell, as I talked about in my other video, that I swapped out some of the light bluish gray for black, trying to make it look darker. So these pieces here, I've all replaced these. But one thing about these hinges is you need to leave an opening here because, you know, they're so big. So one concession I had to make was, you know, sliding these 1x3 slopes out by 1 and just kind of leaving an opening here. You know, maybe I should go back and put some black tiles over the top of this to kind of cover up that little kind of a, you know, peek into the design there, but you know, I still think it looks pretty cool. Now that I've taken my ship apart, I'm going to try to put it back together. Hopefully it goes back the same way. But one thing I'd like to kind of stress, when you're working with these Technic pieces and these hinges, you know, you're kind of flexing them a lot, you're giving it a lot of stress, like even just to kind of get this piece in here kind of at a strange angle. You know, be careful doing that. You could, if you're not careful, you know, you might end up breaking some pins or something, and we don't want that to happen. So once you get your hinges in there, then you can start putting some of the pieces back on the bottom. Now I appreciate these kind of pieces here because these are gonna clamp onto your Technic beams here, but also into the bottom plates here. And by doing this, you know, that's just another level of solid connections, and it just makes it that much stiffer. And these hinges, you know, they've got a lot of weight bearing on these 2 beams here, and so this kind of spreads some of the structural load out a little bit to give it a little more stability. I did add a plate on the bottom here. Again, I'm just trying to add parts to it, you know, adding some more strength to the whole thing as you add the rest of these pieces back in. So another bit to the design here is you have to add 2 levels of plates to the surface of this wing. Because of the way that hinge piece works, you can see there's a bit of a gap there. And so once you get all those parts in there and you close it up with those extra 2 layers of plates, that connection looks solid. And also talking about the amount of space that hinge takes up. So when you're putting these 2-layer plates in here, you need to give yourself a little bridge here. So I built this one up 1 extra plate, and then I'm going to run another 1 plate over here, and then I can do 1 plate over the top, and that'll give me enough clearance for those hinges. And here's what the first layer of plates look like, and then I just add a couple of dark bluish gray 1x6s over the top of that. And I do think if you really wanted to take the time, you know, you could even build this top section with even less parts. Maybe now that Kylo Ren's wings on his Lego set actually work, maybe now he's not so grumpy. Alright, here we are back together again. Now one thing I'd like to say about the design, if I was really going to start from the ground up, one thing I would like to change is the spacing here at which I put the hinges. You know, there's 2 bricks wide spacing between those 2. And you can see when it's up like this, you know, there is a little bit of a play, and even these little wing pieces kind of keep falling off. So this isn't the best design. I think it's a pretty good design, but I'd love to see some of you guys out there even take this and evolve it further. I'd love to see where the concept of the hinges can go. You know, if this was spaced 6 bricks apart instead of just the 4, you know, I think that would give it a lot more strength. Or even using 6 hinges instead of just 3. So if you guys make some changes like that, please let me know, show me, give me a link to a video, or show me some Flickr images or something. Thanks for watching my video here, everybody. Now I meant this video just to be a guide to show you how I did it. This is what I came up with. There's a lot of different ways to do this design. And if you guys are following along and you come up with a better way to do it, or a way that you like better, great. I'd love to see what you guys do. If you have some comments about the way I did it, you know, I really just wanted to come up with a version that had hinges and I could fold out those wings. And then I love this set now that I've done this. I think this is my favorite ship of the Force Awakens set so far. So if you're not already a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. I've got more great videos on the way. And leave me a comment. You know, do you like how I did this? Do you have some other ideas? We have all sorts of stuff to talk about in the comments, and I love talking with you guys. And please thumbs up this video, and I will be back soon with more videos. Thanks, everybody.